Hi guys, it's Allie with Chaos Monkey, and I wanted to show a finish. I finally finished the sweater for my daughter, like, I can get a week, 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. It's been a while, and I finally got around to filming. But this is the Weekender by Andrea Mowry, and there's a picture of it. I think there's a better picture here that shows the detail on the sleeves. And then you can see it's made to be oversized with positive ease, and it has this embellishment down the front and all that good stuff, and then down the back. So I'll try to, if you're interested in the pattern, I'll link it in the description. But here is the sweater, and I'll put pictures on the mannequin too, because I know at this range it's really hard to actually get a feel for it. But as you can see at the bottom, it has a tubular cast on, and then you actually do it in 2 sections so that the split happens and that the back has a longer rib than the front, so it sits down a little further in the back. So this is actually the back of the sweater. Here's the front of the sweater, and I really like this green. I hope it comes out pretty good for you guys, but it's like a heathered green, but it's not too green and it's not too brown, and it has a nice mix to it. And this is all in reverse stockinette, which is like, it looks like garter. And I really like the way that Andrea did it, because I hate doing purling for too long like most people. So you just turn it inside out and you just knit. And then you do that until you get to the sleeves, and then you have to split for the sleeves. And I actually had a problem when I finished the body and sewed it together. I realized that I had rowed out pretty bad up here, and I was really disappointed with how it looked. And what rowing out means is that your tension is different between your knits and your purls. So when you're when we split for the sleeves, you had to knit back and forth instead of in the round. So you kind of had to split off, knit back and forth, finish this side, knit back and forth, finish the back side, and then seam them up here. And then you pick up stitches for your sleeves. Well, once I started doing it as back and forth instead of in the round, my tension for my knitting and my purling was different. So you would actually see a line kind of forming here and there, which is called rowing out. And so I didn't catch that until I was done all the way to the sleeves. I was actually knitting a sleeve, and I put it down, looked at it from a distance, and realized that I had this huge rowing out, really obvious rowing out problem. So I had to rip it all the way back to where the beginning of the sleeves were and redo it and try to change my tension. I fixed it, but it's not 100% fixed. If you look at it too closely, you could probably see some slight rowing, but oh my gosh, it's such an improvement from before. So it was really painful to rip out a sleeve, detach all of this, rip it all out, and start over, but I'm really glad in the long run I did. But that's another reason why it was delayed. It went into timeout for a little bit. But, yeah, basically when you knit up, then you finish the front and the back. You do your portion up here for your collar, and then you do like a 3-needle bind off to attach the front and the back together. And then you pick up for the sleeves, and you work the sleeves all the way down. And then she wanted you to do a tubular bind off at the bottom, but I just did a regular super stretchy cast off. Because at that point, you have to Kitchener when you do a tubular bind off. And I was so afraid I'd mess up my Kitchenering on the sleeves and have to keep ripping out that I was like, you know what, I actually like the way this looks a little better. I'll just do it this way. But here's the other sleeve. You could see where I picked up. I try to pick it up really clean. So I think I did a pretty good job there. And then keep in mind, this is a small because my daughter is very tiny. She's full grown. She's 25, but she's very tiny. So this doesn't look too big, like relatively speaking, because you can see one into the other, and you'll see it on the mannequin. The mannequin is actually medium sized. The sweater is actually small, so it doesn't hang right. And I probably say that again in the video. Because this actually hangs down about this far for the sleeve, and on the mannequin it's like up to here before it hangs down, so it makes the sleeves look too short. But trust me, it's all in proportion, it's all the right size, because you can see here how far that sleeve hangs down. with that patterning, and it doesn't quite do that on the mannequin because the mannequin is bigger. The mannequin is more of a medium, and this is a small, almost an extra small. It's the smallest size I think that was in there for her, because when she gave me her chest measurements with the positive ease, she ended up being like the smallest size that was in the pattern. So technically it wasn't too painful because it was a small, so ripping back and redoing it was still painful, but it could have been worse if I had been making it for myself or, you know, a larger size. So, and there's some short row shaping up at the top, and I was almost tempted to leave out the short row shaping, but I'm really glad I didn't, because being this big, it wouldn't have draped right. It wouldn't have hung right up here without that short row shaping. You know how it's got to drape off the shoulders, and you need a little more fabric in the back and then in the front for your boobs to have everything kind of hang correctly. And that's what short row shaping does for my crocheters, is that you just put in extra stitches kind of halfway and work back and forth just to kind of give a little extra fabric, and then you pick it all up again. And so you kind of get little pockets of extra fabric, and that's all short rows do. And it's kind of a pain, and a lot of people dread them, depending on what kind you like doing. German short rows are really pretty easy. And I think I just did a variation of German short row and like a fish lips kiss heel increase or short row for like my socks. And you could still see some of it on the wraps, but it still blends in really nicely. So, because short rows also I'll mess up on, along with Kitchenerine. Because you know how you get tired and, you know, you're working all day and then you get ready to pick something up, and anything that requires a lot of concentration, you have a greater odds of just messing it up. So I tried to reduce that. So here you go. And as you can see, that bottom rib, the back rib, is longer like it's supposed to be, so that it hangs a little longer in the back. It has 10 inches of positive ease. It's supposed to be a real boxy, real cute fit, you know, like with leggings or, I know, some type of camisole underneath. So hopefully my daughter, hopefully it fits her, because we don't live close enough together to where I could have her try it on as we go. So I just had her send me her measurements, and I'm really hoping it fits. But we'll see. I'll get it in the mail and see if she'll send me some pictures. But anyway, I made it out of Wool of the Andes worsted and Pampas heather. It's 110 yard balls, 50 gram balls, and it's from Knit Picks, so it's a Knit Picks yarn. I got a whole bunch of sweater quantities when it was on sale of different colors of Wool of the Andes. So this one is not a superwash, because I didn't want a superwash for the sweater, because what tends to happen is, from experience, when you do a superwash, as you're wearing it, it tends to grow a little bit, because the yarn, it doesn't have any toothiness to grab itself. When you superwash it, you remove those teeth on the fibers, and it makes it so you can wash it without it felting, but it also kind of makes it so that your sweaters, over the day that you're wearing them, tend to grow and stretch out. And so hers is, so I did it in non-superwash so that it wouldn't stretch out and do all that, but she is going to have to hand wash it, which I'm sure she's going to be okay with. You just have to hand wash it and lay it flat to dry. This is already completely done. I've already woven in all the ends and washed it and blocked it, and I just laid it flat to block. There was no stretching or pinning or anything like that to size, because it was pretty much there. It's just, you know, once you block it, that stitch definition gets even and looks really, really pretty. And I'm really glad I did rip it back and solve the rowing out problem, but I'm not perfect with that. When I knit and purl back on a flat piece, I'm still having issues with rowing out. So that's something I really need to work on. But again, you know, it is a big improvement, but you can see a tiny bit of rowing out if you look really close. So, but I didn't know what else to do at that point, because I did everything I could to adjust my tension. So, still looks really good, you know, and I just hope it fits her and she can wear it. So, alright, I'm going to quit rambling. Again, this was The Weekender by Andrea Mowry. The pattern itself is really amazing. She does really good patterns. If you're curious, easy pattern to follow. If you're a newer knitter, like if you're a crocheter breaking into knitting, or just a new knitter in general, this is a really good sweater to, if not, maybe not your first sweater, but maybe like your second sweater, because, you know, it's got a lot of knitting, a lot of purling, something where your tension is good. Just watch your tension when you're knitting flat, and then you can practice with a different cast on with the tubular and work on a little bit of short rows. And just to be fair, most sweaters have short rows, so it's kind of good practice. And it's kind of minimal short rows on this one. And then most sweaters have waist shaping, and this one does not because of the style. So if you're worried about having to keep track of rows and increases, decreases on the sides, you don't have to do that with this one, with this pattern. So it'd probably be perfect for like a second sweater, or even a first sweater if you really want to challenge yourself with some short rows. You know, it'd be a great sweater to try because it's not overly complicated. Picking, you know, you don't have to pick up for the collar. It's all integrated in. When you get to this part, you just start doing a 1 by 1. And in most sweaters, you have to pick up for the collar and various things. On this one, you just have to pick up for the sleeves. And so, you know, just it would be really good for a beginner, is what I'm trying to say. Alrighty, so I'll try to get some good footage on the mannequin and try to put it in some good lighting because it's really overcast. And I think that's it. I really enjoy the yarn. I really, really do. So I'm glad I have like 5 sweater quantities of this now. So it feels great. It's soft, but not too soft. It's nice and squishy and plumpy, especially once after it's been washed. And the stitch definition is really beautiful. I like the heathering because it makes it look a little more sophisticated than if you did like a solid. I just like the variation in the color. And there was no problems working with it. I mean, I didn't have any problems with the balls. Overall, every once in a while there'd be like a weird blip of color, because you know how they heather it, they'll pull in different colors of yarn when they're heathering the yarn, and sometimes you get a big bloop of green, and you could just easily just kind of pull it out gently, you know, so it didn't show. Other than that, I mean, no problems. Absolutely no problems with this yarn. So, very, very nice to work with. Especially when you're trying to go for budget yarn, because you want a nice wool, but you don't want to break the bank on a sweater. And it's a good price and nice to work with. So, and again, this color was the Pampas Heather, Pampas, which is a weird color for a green, or color name for a green, but maybe I'm not sure what a Pampas is. Maybe we should Google that. Maybe it's this color, whatever it is. Maybe it's a type of grass or something. Alright, I am rambling, so I'm going to go ahead and go. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay guys, here it is on the mannequin. Again, the mannequin is a little big for it, so the sleeves will hang down more than just like 2 inches here. It probably come down from here on my daughter's, so the sleeves look short, but just kind of ignore that. They're actually longer, because you see how broad the shoulders are on the mannequin, so yeah, it's gonna fit better on my daughter because her shoulders aren't that wide. So the sleeves are actually longer than the body, normally how the fit is. So the bottom is a little cropped, and then of course, like I showed, it has the split seam on the sides, and you have the back of it a little longer than the front. And so you can see, especially with the short row shaping, that it fits really nice. It's draping really nicely. And then across the back, you see how it drapes over those shoulder blades and then has that kind of drapey positive ease. So hopefully it fits her just fine, and we'll just hope for the best, and I hope it's nice and cozy, and I hope she doesn't get too itchy in it. I will warn her that it is wool, so it is a soft wool, but it's still wool, so you do need to wear like an undergarment with it so that it doesn't give you the itchies until you get, especially if you're not used to wearing wools. But it's incredibly warm and incredibly lightweight, and so I think she'll have a lot of fun wearing it. And if she likes sweaters, because this is the first one I've knit for her, knit with her in mind, you know, maybe she'll request more in the future, and I would not mind making her sweaters. So there you go. And the color looks pretty darn accurate. So It's like a really light kind of olive green with a lot of heathering in it. So, alrighty.